Shall we have a meeting? I'm dying to talk about this.
I'm ready.
Excellent. I'll play the music. The
Indeed.
music?
Yeah.
Ready when you are.
Might be...
Oh.
Oh. There's so much good music in this film, and you went for that.
You thought I was going to do the titles, huh?
I really did. You got us good.
I picked the best song in the film.
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Talk us through it, Michael.
Well, Star Wars is a film, I'm not sure if you heard of it before. Came out in the late 70s. Fairly minor sort of thing, but it had a fairly big budget for the time.
It was a long time ago.
And I don't really like this film very much, which makes it unique among films that I've picked. But I just thought, we've been doing this for a long time, and this is an important film that a lot of people really care about. What? And that I thought would be kind of interesting to discuss. We've talked before about how Claire has never seen it. And I've probably only seen it twice before this.
And you wanted to tarnish her life by making her see this?
Should we and Fernando bet on whether we thought Claire liked it?
Yeah, brilliant. So what do you reckon, Laura? Did Claire like it?
I think that she loved it. Genuinely.
Great.
I think
Laura,
it's going to be in the canon of films that Claire loves for inexplicable reasons that
Laura's
I don't
going
understand.
for Claire loved Star Wars. Fernando?
Well, then nobody can love this film, so it then follows that she did not like it.
Yeah. Did she hate it?
Well, that is unknown. Hate leads to suffering, so no. She did not hate it.
Cool. I'm going to go for she probably did rather hate it. She really disliked this film.
I forgot you would
is
know
my
because
guess.
you haven't talked about it, probably.
No, we haven't talked about it at all.
Okay.
So, should we hear Claire's perspective, and then we can hear what the other two of you think as well?
Let's do it.
Claire.
I feel under quite a lot of pressure now. It was okay. I won't.
Fernando wins.
I think Fernando's closest. I didn't love it. Although, to be fair, it was very clear about goodies and baddies, which is, a weight off my mind watching a film. I don't need to work out who the goodies and baddies are. But yeah, it's just a bit stupid. And I don't get it.
Yeah.
Ah, damn.
Bit
That would
stupid.
put good money. Yeah. What can you
What
do?
about you, Fernando?
You never know a person.
What did you think of the film?
Well, I hadn't seen...
I feel like this is going to be bad.
I hadn't seen this specialized edition, but I did.
Yep.
I did watch, I guess, the normal edition back in 2020. And for some reason, this time I enjoyed it a little bit more. The first time I watched it, well, again, I hadn't seen the specialized edition, but I hated it. So this was slightly better. I'm not sure if it is because it is the second time that I'm watching it or because it is not special at all. Yes, I see, well, these three first films as a necessary boring chapter in a much better, much more interesting, I guess, book that is the collection of 9 films, out of which the last 3 are my favorite.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so putting it in perspective as a very, very long series, it's important, but not a good film. What about you, Laura?
Loved it.
Okay.
Absolutely loved it. It was great.
Have you seen it before a lot?
I
So
saw
you're
it
very familiar with it?
No, I've seen it once before in maybe 2013 or something.
Yep.
And I would have given it a solid 3 stars, wasn't that interested, kind of bored.
Yep.
Not a sci-fi person. And then this time round, immediately got swept up in it. Thought, this is so exciting. I love this.
Okay.
Brilliant. Yeah. A little bit silly at times, maybe. Imperfect, sure.
Yep.
But brilliant, yeah. Fantastic. What about you?
I liked it more than I've liked it before. As I say, I've seen it a couple of times before. I watched, I think all of the Star Wars films. I sort of had a little season of them a few years ago. Made a point of watching them because I hadn't really seen them before. But yeah, this time watching it again, I think it felt very innocent. It was a nice film about a wide-eyed, innocent protagonist who just wants to rescue the princess and do something good for the world. Yeah. And it's a fun adventure. It doesn't get too into things. And I think that has really been lost in the kind of inexplicable media extravaganza around this film. It's almost like a fetish now, just the number of things that people are Star Wars fans and people hate Star Wars and people will decorate their house with pictures of Darth Vader or whatever. And I never quite got that. But all of it forgets about kind of what's nice about this film, which is that it's a cute fairy tale. And should probably have been left at that. It is not as up itself as some of the newer films they've made that feel like they're trying to be the most incredible piece of art that's ever been created, and they just fall awfully flat. It was nice.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I like the new films. I'm kind of with Fernando. I enjoyed them, but I enjoyed them in the way that I sometimes enjoy the Marvel films, which is that it's very clear that it's been made by a board of people. A board who has been told, people love this work of media. Create another work of media that people will also love. And you can just see how they're just trying to tick all the boxes, but also make it more epic. And then that makes it the fact that they got in different directors. And you can tell because there's just they don't mesh well. They're all over the place a little bit. I don't know, Fernando. You might disagree. I do really enjoy them. Still, I do enjoy them. I like Kylo Ren and I like Rey and all that. And,
maybe we should move on to. Should we have a section at the end for the rest of the series?
Oh, good.
And that way that'll sort of keep us on this. For what it was.
We can also skip a discussion on Star Wars and only speak about the last trilogy.
Well, I'll just cut all the boring stuff where we talk about this film, and then we'll make jokes about Jar Jar Binks for half an hour, and that'll be the podcast, right?
Oh yeah, Jar Jar Binks wasn't in this.
No, he wasn't.
He was in Star Wars.
Yeah, he was in about 30 years later.
All right. I like Chewbacca though.
Chewbacca's great.
Yeah, there's a good link. So what did you like, Claire?
I like Chewbacca.
Yep.
I knew you were going to do that.
Did you like him because he was a big fluffy dog?
Was he a dog?
Close enough.
It was an unidentified creature he's not to find.
He was a Wookiee.
A Wookiee. I don't know what a Wookiee is. But he was one of them. He was fun. I thought Luke was a great character. He was very likeable. You were rooting for him right from the start. A few very obvious, even heroes who save the whole galaxy have to do their chores, and their uncle doesn't let them go to Jedi school or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know, bits that were a bit obvious in that way. But yeah, he was good. I didn't like the sort of zooming around in aircraft or spaceships and stuff. None of that did much for me. But the actual interpersonal scenes where they had conversations and stuff, I quite liked them. So yeah, the character-driven bits I thought were at least watchable, entertaining. But yeah, I'm not a big one for car chases or anything like that anyway.
There were quite a lot of space car chases.
Yeah.
There were, weren't there?
It felt very Top Gun in parts. And I did not like Top Gun, so... Yeah. Yeah, I'd say the chatty parts I liked, and I thought a lot of the characters were good.
Did you say Chewie and Luke were your favourite?
Yeah, definitely. Interesting. Who are yours?
Han Solo.
I
liked Luke. I really like Luke on this watch for some reason. He was very endearing.
Yep.
Love Han Solo. I like them all. I like Leia. I like
Leia was a good character.
Yeah. Spunky.
A returning guest from Blues Brothers.
Oh yeah. Oh, I like it when we watch. Well, I've said that before.
Like when people are in things more than once.
Yeah.
Nice to see Carrie Fisher getting a bit of work.
And I think were they all relatively unknown at this point?
I think
Yeah.
so.
I think this was the first big film for just about everyone in the cast.
Who was the Jedi? Obi?
Oh yeah, so
yes.
Alec Guinness, I suppose.
Alec Guinness was
that's his
established,
name.
wasn't he?
And probably James Earl Jones, right?
I don't know.
I don't know
never
either,
seen?
actually. You know what? I'm thinking of Mufasa, which is about 20.
Yeah.
But he's Mufasa from the future.
So
at
he
this
was
point.
the voice of Darth Vader, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, cool.
Simba.
He was just the voice of Darth Vader and someone else was Darth Vader.
Yeah, I think, who was it? David Prowse was the body actor for Darth Vader.
What?
Quite why James Earl Jones couldn't have done it himself.
Yeah.
Guess he wasn't tall enough or something.
Racism.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it could be people made some bizarre decisions.
He was in a full bodysuit.
I know, but maybe they thought he'd not be able to move right or something. Or
Yeah, so I thought they'd just give him all of the part of the role that had expression and like the bit with the actual acting. Yes, I'm sure it was racism.
Well, he has to take his helmet off at some point.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know.
Oh dear.
Who
When he
knows?
go- he must have when he goes to bed.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a thought. So we think it's got like breathing equipment in it, right?
Yeah.
Although it's sort of unclear. There's a lot that's sort of unclear about all the backstory, isn't there? We get. I quite like that it wraps itself up as a story. It's quite
Yeah, me too.
a convenient. That was a full film, but also we don't really know who he was or what was going on with him. And the same for a few of the other characters, kind of where they've come from and what's happening next.
Which is exactly what, I know we're saving this for the end, but exactly what's so annoying about the rest of it. It's just like, give audiences want this explained. I don't want this explained. I like not knowing.
Yeah, okay.
What?
Like the Han Solo backstory, like the
He
one
got a
about
whole
the
film,
thing.
didn't he?
Yeah. Tries to explain everything, how he got there. Who else got a film? Who's Jin? Was it Jin? Whose dad worked on the Death Star so that they could figure out how they got the all this jazz.
Yeah, okay. Bit desperate, isn't it?
Yeah.
Any favourite characters of yours, Fernando?
Who would be my favorite character in this first film? Who would be my favorite?
I can leave that one with you if you like. Chewbacca, good choice.
Oh, I thought you said Jabba.
Jabba?
And I was like, good choice. I should admit, I forgot to watch the despecialized version. I just rented the one that was on Amazon.
Okay.
Well, I watched a YouTube video that went through all the different, it sort of had them side by side.
Oh, you can
So I
talk us
could
through
see
it at some point. You can see what...
Yeah. Has any of you seen the 2011 new special?
Don't think so.
Oh.
Could you summarise what the whole thing's about? What these different editions?
Yeah, they've added in a bunch of really shit CGI.
Yeah.
Great.
It's awful. I do not recommend it. It's like nearly spoiled my viewing. And I was like, this is George Lucas. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Is that Disney ruining it?
I don't think it was Disney then. I think this was George Lucas being like, at the time, I didn't have the technology I wanted to make the film I wanted. I want to get everyone forget about the old version. I want this new version.
Oh, that's what I was also thinking when I was watching this film. Saying this film should be refilmed, and they should do it again. Yes.
Oh, can you imagine if they did that with Jurassic Park? Like, CGI is much better now. We could really make this great.
Let's do all the characters with CGI.
Maybe we should wait until we actually bring dinosaurs back to existence, and we just film them,
teach them to act.
Yes.
Yep.
So, did the CGI add anything at all, Laura?
No,
it just worse.
It was just. It was. I couldn't believe that the CGI was that bad in 2011. It looked like it hadn't improved since the 90s. I mean, it was so out of place. Like it was. They've added in a bunch of creatures and stuff. Like in every possible scene that they could jam in a space creature, they've done it with CGI, and it's the worst. They added in a scene with Jabba that wasn't in the original. I don't think.
Right.
So, you know, Han Solo meets up with Jabba before they get on the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, so he sort of references him as some kind of, like, crime lord that he owes money to, right?
Right, yes. Well, they add in a scene where he's actually talking to him.
Right.
And yeah, it's just like a cartoon in the middle of the film. It's like really old. And there's a bit, so in the 90s version, they have Han Solo walk around the back of Jabba, and then in the 2000s they decide he should be stepping on his tail, so they digitally lift Harrison Ford up as he's going around. And it's like it looks so like it's just like a glitch in the film. But it was like that all over the place. It's just like they've added in a bunch of really bad PS2 cartoons.
That's what we need, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm glad in that case that I suggested the despecialized edition to everyone, which, by the way, we I think is as close as they could make it to the version that originally came out in cinemas. But I haven't seen the sort of new cartoon version, but they I've just heard enough bad things about it that they just add in loads of crap that's like, what is it? Is there the scene where they're getting into the town on Tatooine in their sort of car thing, and then like a massive dinosaur just goes right across the middle of the lens, so that we can't see what they're doing at all?
Yep, that happens. They have him like rear up and roar as well, and then he comes down and then moves off the screen again, just like
it's just embarrassing, isn't it?
It's so just clearly someone who's so excited by CGI and just like, let's do it as much as we can.
At least we skipped that. Whereas the effects in the original one, I want to talk about the Muppets. This was the best Muppet movie that we have watched so far. It's better than The Muppets Take Manhattan, and it's better than Labyrinth. The crazy aliens with their flutes playing in the bar, and the what else? The tentacle monster that tries to eat them when they're in the garbage disposal.
Oh yeah.
There are a handful of other things, weren't there? Just all these random aliens and stuff. Brilliant.
Why did you hate it?
Oh, they just dragged it out so much.
What do you think?
I was like, oh my god. And then, like, the weird pretend being dragged under the water by the snake thing.
I found it very exciting. I also liked when C-3PO thought he'd killed them all. Because they were all cheering and whooping, and he was like, oh my god, they're dying.
What do you think of C-3PO as a character?
I liked him on this watch.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
pedantic, fussy robot.
Yeah,
I did not like him. I thought I liked him because of the other films, but watching this film, he was so bad.
Oh, poor 3PO. Has anyone seen The Thick of It, where Malcolm Tucker's describing Star Wars?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
it's so funny. He's got a tinfoil pal and a pedal bin.
What's that film that you love?
What film?
The one about the fucking hairdresser, the space hairdresser and the cowboy. The guy's, he's got a tinfoil pal and a pedal bin. His father's a robot and he's fucking fucked his sister. Lego. They're all made of fucking Lego.
Star Wars.
That's the one, right. It's like that, okay.
So good. My fucking banter.
Did you think there was a? How much do you know about the rest of the story, Claire?
I know that Luke's dad is and his sister's.
Okay.
Bleeping that right out.
Why? Spoilers.
Someone might not know.
Yeah,
put a spoiler disclaimer at the beginning of the episode. Yeah.
No, I think if they don't know that by now.
What else do I know? In the one other film I've seen, I don't know which one it was, they have laser crossbows, which I liked.
Yeah.
And C-3PO gets upgraded to a sort of impossible robot that spins around with its like a sphere with a head on that magically remains balanced.
I don't think that's C-3PO.
Well, it's just an upgrade on C-3PO, is it not? Not C-3PO. So. What's the D2, R2-D2?
R2-D2. Right, yeah, okay. I see what you mean there.
Is that George Takei, the C-3PO? Is that...
Huh?
Oh, I've got a cast list here. Anthony Daniels, C-3PO. Anthony Daniels.
What was George Takei? He was... Oh, was that Star
He was in
Trek?
Star Trek, the original series. He was the Doctor, right?
Oh, I don't know. Fair enough.
I forgot to mention R2-D2. He was very cute. I liked him a lot.
He's good, isn't he?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, there's a lot of... you got a lot of sense of his character just from little beeps and boops and rustling around.
Foul language as well.
What's the deal with him, though? They can all understand him because they all understand robot language?
Is that not 3PO's job, is to translate robot into human?
Yeah, I didn't get the sense they could understand him.
Oh, I thought Luke understood him.
No, I think C-3PO's translating for him. He's just sort of... I think he's kind of getting a loose sense of what he's...
Yeah, he's sort of interpreting him like we are. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, they were cute, though. I think I've got Leia as best character, though.
Ah, right. Why is that?
She's just got such a great, like... I don't know. She is a princess who is in need of rescuing, but at the same time, she's just so, fuck you about it all.
Governor Tarkin, I should have expected to find you holding Vader's leash. I recognized your foul stench when I was brought on board. It's a little short for a stormtrooper. This is some rescue. Into the garbage, you flyboy! Will somebody get this big walking carpet out of my way?
She's just not taking any shit from anyone, but in quite a nice way as well. She's like appreciative. She's not mean for the sake of it, but she's just uncompromising and she's good. And you want to be her, and you want her to be the queen or whatever.
So what you're saying is that Princess Leia is actually Princess Jasmine.
Yeah, same kind of idea, right? This sort of independent princess who, But yeah, she's just got real stage presence, I guess. You want to...
Chutzpah.
She's got chutzpah, yeah.
Yeah, she was good. What about Han Solo? No one's talking about him. He was great. I mean, some of the acting was a bit,
Claire said you could tell who was the goodie and who was the baddie. Han Solo was one where it's not quite so clear, right?
Well, I mean, in the face of like an evil empire, he's sort of just a bit of a scoundrel.
What do you reckon,
Did you get a sense of... Yeah, go on, what do you think?
Yeah, he wasn't allied with any side, was he? That was the point. He was just out for himself.
Yep.
Look, I ain't in this for your revolution, and I'm not in it for you, Princess. I expect to be well paid. I'm in it for the money.
You needn't worry about your reward. If money is all that you love, then that's what you'll receive.
He wasn't on the side of good or evil. He was on the side of making himself money. He was probably immoral, I would say, as a character.
Do you mean amoral?
No, he just shot that guy point blank.
Yeah, okay.
No,
Right.
He only did things when it would directly benefit him.
Yeah.
And he buggered off and left.
But could he have done it in self-defense, as in the other person was going to kill him, or presumably was going to kill him?
Maybe, yeah, you could argue it was in self-defense. I'd say probably shouldn't kill people if you can avoid it.
Yeah.
There might have been another way for him to get away.
This is an interesting point now, right? Laura, did you notice anything about that scene?
Yes, I think... Is it Greedo?
All the nerds love going on about this.
Fire first, is that right? In the 2011 version, they have him fire. Is that right?
Yeah, they add a little extra ray on the screen where he fires and then just misses and Han fires back.
Yeah.
But the version Claire and I and Fernando watched, he's just talking about how he's like threatening him and Han just shoots him. Which I think makes Han a much more interesting character because you see this dark side of him. But yeah, this is one of these scenes that George Lucas has kept coming back to. So he changed it so the green guy shot first, and then he changed it a later bit so they fire at the same time, then changed it again so that the green guy shoots first, and he changed it again for the Disney Plus release so that the alien goes McClunky, and then they both fire.
I bet you have. McClunky.
What?
And it is completely unclear what McClunky is supposed to... It's not subtitled, and it's just come out of nowhere. This man has gone mad and needs to be told off.
Oh.
It's like, who was talking about the kid with the colouring book? And at some point they finished colouring. You need to take the colouring pens away because otherwise they're just going to keep colouring everything. And it's just going to get worse and worse.
Yeah, it's a good analogy.
But yeah, it's an interesting thought that adjusts who Han Solo is. Maybe would you feel differently about Han Solo, Claire, if he'd only fired after the other guy had fired at him and missed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if someone's shooting at you, that's different.
Yeah, bloody modern sensibilities, eh? Kind of a stain on your character.
Well, he doesn't have to be a good person, though, does he? To be I might have thought he was a better person, but maybe that wasn't in keeping with his character.
Yeah.
The fact that
doesn't it make the redemption all the stronger when he comes back at the end and fights for them?
Yeah, I would say so.
I was really upset. I mean, I know people have pointed this out before, but the fact that Chewbacca doesn't get a medal.
Oh, does he not?
No, it's just
who gets
Han
a
and
medal?
Luke. Han and
Luke.
And Chewbacca's just standing right there, and he doesn't get a medal. And then all three of them turn around to face the cheering crowd, but poor Chewie just has no medal.
I guess she couldn't reach up to put it round his neck.
There was... Well, that's a very kind interpretation. There was no third medal. We all know it.
Yeah.
But why would Chewbacca get a medal? As in, what did he do?
He was there. He was in the front line.
Why?
Yeah, he and Han did everything together, didn't they?
They were co-pilots.
Okay. Well, in that case, C-3PO was also there translating.
He should have got a medal too.
Yeah. What about R2-D2? What about the ship?
I know. They all should have gotten medals.
I have a lot to say about the droids. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have. And one of the questions I've written down is the droids have souls.
Wow.
God.
Well, one of the questions that I have is, can you be racist to droids?
Well, no.
Can someone blow the symbolism flute?
Oh, yes.
By someone, do you mean Fernando?
If anyone else has got one, I'm fine. Woo!
That's not how we respond to symbolism.
Sorry.
Have a bit of decorum.
Thank you, Fernando. The droids are black American slaves.
Yeah.
What? Oh. Okay.
They are bought and sold as property.
Yep.
They are clearly sentient. They clearly have thoughts and feelings and an instinct for self-preservation. They're just as intelligent as the people, or they seem to be. And I think they're doing it deliberately because they're kind of looking after them, but basically just because they can do jobs for them. Some of them treat them better, some of them treat them worse. And when they go into the rough bar on Tatooine, people say, we don't want their type in here.
They're kind, yes. That was so racist.
Yeah. That was the exact, classic phrase that racist people use when someone of the wrong race comes into their bar. And I think they did that deliberately. I think that was meant to make you think about that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think they knew what they were doing.
And the whole shipping them around and people buying them was very slave markety, wasn't it?
They literally call them master, don't they?
Yeah, using the term master.
I was a bit disappointed in Luke when he said to C-3PO, go wait outside.
Yeah.
Also very much just treated them as property.
Except they were, in fact, robots. So that's what I was wondering is, can you be racist to droids? Was it actually okay to just have a droid wait outside?
But they have feelings.
Yeah, if they have feelings, then it's not okay. But maybe they don't.
Yeah, I guess it's like Westworld, isn't it? They're just programmed that way.
But I think as viewers, we're supposed to think they have feelings. We're supposed to fall a bit in love with them and think that they're cute or funny.
Wait, but then I thought about pets, as in you can't go to some places with your pets, and pets have feelings.
Yeah.
And they definitely have souls.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. Pets aren't humans, and that's
neither
a bit different.
Droids.
I think these droids basically were humans.
So are pets.
R2-D2.
They acted like even R2-D2 had a clear understanding of what was going on. R2-D2 was shown to be cleverer than C-3PO, and to be upset when one thing or another happened, and he understood the rebellion. Or I think he seemed to anyway. At least we're up to great ape territory. We're well above dog or cat. And so then I want to talk about the Empire, which I think is not quite so clear. The Empire seemed to me to be applicable to a few different things. What did the Empire remind us of?
Colonialism.
Yes. Can you hone in on that?
I mean, they're literally called the Empire. What more do you want?
Yeah. No, that's good. But which Empire do you think they were most like?
Oh,
I've got 4 written down.
Oh, I hadn't thought about it that much, but the British? Who do you think?
I've got the British down. Most of them had British accents.
Yes.
And they were doing the classic movie baddie thing.
Were they speaking English?
They were speaking English.
Oh, which is characteristic of the British Empire.
There we are. Yeah, exactly. And sort of a connection with, we could see that as reflecting the slave trade that occurred in the British Empire with these droids. But they had some other features as well. Any other suggestions?
How many empires were there in the world?
Oh, that would be a good one for Wikipedia.
The Ottoman Empire.
Yep, so many empires.
Yeah, lots of empires. One that I've got written down is the Romans.
Oh.
They had this idea of they were the. They referred to the old republic, didn't they?
Oh, yeah.
The old republic that had risen up and was a fairer time, but it's been taken over and converted into an empire. Exactly what happened with Rome. And it, views these outlying planets. The empire is maybe not a very big presence there. You could hardly, you might have thought on Tatooine, you might hardly know you were in the empire until Imperial troops came in. Doing what they needed to do for their own purposes. That was very Roman, I thought.
Yep.
Yeah.
They were big on slaves as well.
Big on slaves as well. Although they wouldn't have done that in quite the same way as they do with the droids, which was more of a racial thing. That they would sort of capture and enslave people that they fought wars against, no matter what they looked like, wouldn't they? The Romans.
Yep.
And that seemed to be not quite what we're doing. Anyway, I thought, yeah, something like that. And I've also got fascists. They had a very fascist
very
look
clear.
to them.
Mm-hmm.
These black uniforms and this the way that they were talking about the Jedi religion and Darth Vader's old-fashioned ways. They were very precise and punctual, and this is, we will follow these orders in this systematic way, and that seemed very either Mussolini or Nazi to me.
Yeah, that's quite un-Roman, isn't it? They maybe not the punctuality and stuff, but they embraced religion and culture wherever they went. They allowed people to maintain their religious beliefs. They didn't try and force
the Romans
their own.
did, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's maybe not a...
Whereas fascists were more about wiping out religion wherever they saw it, or something like that. Certainly religious power.
But so, who was Darth Vader in this? Was he just like the head of the military or something? Like, what was his role in the Empire?
That's a really good question. What did you think?
I don't know. He just felt a bit like the enforcer. He didn't really seem to be in charge politically.
Yep.
But he was clearly very powerful, and it was clearly very important. He was at like the big meetings.
Yep.
But yeah, was told to shut up by his superiors. So yeah, I don't know, like first soldier or something.
I really liked how Darth Vader fit into their system, because I thought it was clear that just as you didn't quite know what his position was, no one else quite seems to know what his position was. People knew that they weren't going to tell him no, because he had these extraordinary and mysterious powers.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
Don't be too proud of this technological terror you've constructed. The ability to destroy a planet is insignificant next to the power of the Force.
Don't try to frighten us with your sorcerer's ways, Lord Vader. Your sad devotion to that ancient religion has not helped you conjure up the stolen data tapes, or given you clairvoyance enough to find the rebels' hidden fort.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Enough of this. Vader, release him.
As you wish.
But he wasn't in charge of the army. He wasn't like the, as you say, he wasn't an emperor, he wasn't a political leader. He seemed to command troops sometimes, but often against the precise instructions of his superiors. And I thought he was a wonderful offset to it, that where they're all so sort of precise and fascist, he has this kind of weird religious thing that he's doing, and has these mysterious powers he doesn't understand, that no one else understands, and this connection with Obi-Wan that also none of them really knew anything about, and he would just sort of say, just leave him, I need to face him one-on-one, and that's not a military thing to do, that's not an imperial thing to do, that was his own motivation, and I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it's quite what's his name? Quite Achilles, isn't it?
Oh, I see.
He was,
thank you, that's great.
He was the real hero of the Iliad, wasn't he? But he wasn't strictly the leader. But yeah, ended up in one-on-one combat, didn't he, with
Hector,
yeah.
Yeah, and Hector and Achilles both didn't particularly care about Helen and Paris and the whole thing that was going on with this conflict between the Achaeans and the Trojans, but they had their own sort of higher story that they were a part of.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very good.
Yeah, great comparison.
Yes. That might be a legitimate one.
5 points to Gryffindor.
So at one point, I did wonder about Vader. So I don't really have any context for it, but I have written here, is Darth Vader trying to save Princess Leia?
Ooh.
I think it's when she'd been sentenced to death and Vader kept putting it off, or at one point something happened and he was like, oh, it's a good job we didn't kill her.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe there was some, it felt a little bit like maybe he'd done that on purpose. But I didn't really have any evidence for it. Except
I got the exact same feeling. He seems to sort of respect her. And I think, again, that's the thing that he senses, that this is well, maybe there's other things he knows, but certainly he respects her point of view more, or seems to. And he doesn't just care about crushing rebels like the others do. He sort of sees something about her. And there's one thing, is that she lies about where the rebel base is.
Yeah.
And later on, they realise that she lied, and he says something like, I told you that she'd never betray the rebels.
She lied. She lied to us.
I told you she would never consciously betray the rebellion.
Terminate her immediately.
And so I think he must have known from he was right there when she said where the rebel base was. He must have known that it was a lie, and he just stood there. He didn't say anything.
Oh, did he use occlumency?
That, or he just had a sense for it, or maybe he could read her mind. We know that we saw Jedi using these mind tricks, didn't we?
These are not the droids you're looking for.
Let me see your identification.
You don't need to see his identification.
We don't need to see his identification.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
These aren't the droids we're looking for.
He can go about his business.
You can go about your business.
Move along.
Move along. Move along.
You don't need to see my identification.
Love that.
Yeah, that's great. I want to go through security and do that.
These are not the drugs you're looking for.
But yeah, another little hint that Darth Vader wasn't really entirely on the Empire's side.
Yeah.
Good spot. I didn't notice that. Hero's Journey, very obvious one.
It's a classic, isn't it?
Classic.
Talk us through the hero's journey.
Innocent young guy living his monotonous daily life, longing for something else, and then it's all upended. There's a I don't know that well, but what happened? He's called to a journey, and there's a wise old guy there pointing on. What else happens in the...
Same as Labyrinth, same as
Labyrinth.
Probably a few films we've seen.
Theseus.
Yeah, why not? So he eventually gets there, and there's a major setback, but then eventually comes through in the end and returns changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was such an old fairy tale, wasn't it? This could so easily have been in Middle Earth, or it could have been about dragons.
It was very fantasy-ish.
Yeah, the boy who needs to rescue the princess from the evil empire by breaking into their castle and taking her away, and then goes back and destroys the castle, and has to escapes from the evil knight, having been summoned by Merlin to do all of this. And it's all there, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why some of you were talking about the car chasers and how they were a bit naff. And I think it's because they didn't contribute to that at all. That they didn't really do much in terms of progressing that actual core story. So when they were racing along through the trenches, doing the whole Top Gun thing, I've just found that a waste of time.
Yeah, I had no patience for that.
I mean, they need to go in there and they need to drop the bomb into the waste shaft or whatever, and they need Han Solo to turn up, but they could have cut it down by half anyway.
Yeah, I thought so.
I didn't mind it. No, they talked to each other quite a lot. It was very action-heavy, though. Yeah, I get it. Not my favourite. Yeah. What about Jesus?
Oh, yeah. Who was Jesus? The eternal question.
I feel like it's a really famous thing in Star Wars that it's like super Christian.
Really?
Or super religious. People say that all the time, and I forgot to pay that much attention to it, and I can't really see what the...
Is the Force God, then?
I wonder, if it's everywhere and in all of us and whatever.
Well, what's his name sacrifices himself? Obi-Wan.
Yeah, Obi-Wan is Jesus, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. Is there more?
He's a wise man who teaches everybody about the ways of God / the Force.
And the Roman Empire killed him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the Roman Empire again.
Yeah, it has these magical powers. Turns water into wine. Turns droids into not droids.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Maybe it's the other films.
Yeah, maybe we'll get more in later installments. Is that a good time to move on to other films?
Can I ask a couple of questions about this one?
Oh, please.
When Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi are fighting, Darth Vader says, "You should not have come back." But they were in the Death Star, and I don't understand what he meant when he said back where, and I don't know where he meant from.
Back from exile.
No, not
yeah, I guess he sort of just went and tended his allotment, didn't he, for a few years?
Yeah, he went and hid. So coming back to civilization, I guess.
Oh my God, was Obi-Wan Kenobi Jeremy Corbyn?
Yes.
Yeah. JC.
Darth Vader is Theresa May?
Yeah, take your pick. I'm going to go Boris Johnson. He's definitely more of a Boris Johnson to me.
He probably is more of a Boris Johnson.
Well, it was Boris Johnson who eventually slayed him, wasn't it?
And Luke is Keir Starmer, I guess.
Yeah, there we go.
Or John McDonnell, I don't know.
Wait, who's Penny Mordaunt?
Yeah, I think he meant, like Simba. Like Scar saying to Simba, "You shouldn't have come back from your exile."
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so it's
Was this
Hamlet.
the Lion King? Yeah.
Was this the Lion King?
Yes, so.
Oh, yeah, Hamlet. Was this Hamlet?
But wait, James Earl Jones did the voice of Mufasa.
Oh my God, it all fits!
So Mufasa is Darth Vader? That doesn't sound right.
Fractals.
So Laura, we've had I don't know why you in particular, anyone who wants to talk about it, there have been another 11 Star Wars films after this one. The first two being ones that came out shortly afterwards to complete the trilogy. The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
Oh yeah.
What's your experience with the series?
13 more films then.
There's been 13 more.
Because you had the 3 prequels.
Yep.
And then the 3 sequels, the Rey and Kylo Ren, and then the backstory ones.
So we're up to 9, and then there were 3
Han Solo
spin-offs.
I guess you say spin-offs. Well, they seem quite direct. What was that one that was about the Death Star?
Rogue One?
Rogue One, that's the one.
Oh, is that the one I've seen?
No. You saw episode 7, because I saw it in the cinema with you. That was the one with the laser crossbow for killing space vampires.
Oh.
And the Death Planet.
Yeah. Which is presumably smaller than a Death Star.
Yeah.
I went to see Rogue One in the cinema with my mum, and we came out and she went, "What is the Death Star?"
Brilliant.
Because they're just talking about like getting the plans for the Death Star.
Yeah.
I think you don't really. She didn't grasp that it was the the big battle station.
Yeah.
They're still, imagine how confusing it is if they're talking all the way through about the Death Star and you're like, what the fuck is the Death Star? I have no idea what that is.
Did they not cover it in the required reading at the start?
I can't remember. I think they probably assumed that you knew what the Death Star was.
Yeah, okay.
If you were going to see Rogue One.
Which I think is a bit arrogant, and I think that shows the whole Star Wars being too up itself thing.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure everyone saw that film that came out 50 years ago that wasn't that good.
Excuse you. It was amazing.
Yeah, okay.
Rogue One was stupid, though.
Rogue One was the one that ended, and like the last scene was the first scene of this film, right?
Yeah, so it ends with, I think a planet gets blown up. The people who stole the plans for the Death Star.
Yeah.
But they're trying to rewrite it so that it makes more sense that the Death Star would have this massive flaw in its design that meant that you send one bomb down a pipe and it blows the entire thing up.
Yeah.
By saying that the guy who designed the Death Star was a prisoner. It's Mads Mikkelsen, by the way.
Nice.
Yeah. Was a prisoner, so he designed it this way specifically, and then sent the plans to his daughter, who gives it to something like that. I can't remember.
Nice.
Maybe he doesn't give the plans to his daughter. I don't know. Anyway, yeah.
Overall, as a series, Fernando, what do you like the other films in this series?
Overall, the whole story, I give it a 10 out of 10.
Nice. Star Wars fan.
Very good.
Yes.
Great. What should we watch next if we were going to?
Unfortunately, we do have to watch them all.
Is that your next 14 picks done?
Yes. Well, as in, I'm not counting the spin-offs, so just episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah. Of which we just watched number 4.
Except, now that you've pointed out the existence of the despecialized edition, and it didn't say episode 4 in the opening credits, as in, were they actually not intending to do episodes? Was this intended to be the first episode and then later change their mind?
I do have one piece of information about this, which is something I think people tend to forget. So this came out in 1977, and its sequel, The Empire Strikes Back, came out in 1981. But even before that sequel had come out, a re-release of this film had come out that was basically the same, but that title sequence said Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope. So even back then, I think in like 1980 or 1979, they had got this idea that this would be the fourth in a series of, I think they were thinking 9. So that was very early on they planned it. Yeah. Which was a weird one where it would, open saying episode 5, episode 6, and people wouldn't really know what that meant.
Well, it means episode 4, episode 5, and episode 6. Then what else could it mean?
Yeah. Well, I guess it means we're going to make 3 more that come before, which is not obvious somehow. So you'd recommend putting the time in watching the whole series?
Yes, I would.
Cool. Laura?
Yeah, why not?
They're good.
What else you got going on?
Should it be watched episode 1 to 9 or in order of release?
I think I watched them episode 1 to 9 because Kira made me watch them in chronological order.
Yeah, that's the way that I would suggest watching them.
I think that's a crazy way to do it, to be honest. Crazy. Yeah, I mean, the prequels are well known to be total garbage, so...
Yeah.
I don't know if I would recommend them to anyone.
I would certainly recommend the prequels better than the original series.
Nice. My memory is that they were very different.
Yeah.
But not entirely bad.
Well, maybe we'll end up watching them. I'd like to watch at least the original trilogy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I'll leave it to you. My memory of when I watched them a few years ago was that the next one, The Empire Strikes Back, was the best out of all of the ones they made. And was really, a really great film. And then they didn't quite nail it for the end of the trilogy.
Some mad decisions there.
What are mad decisions?
In the final trilogy.
Oh, the most recent trilogy that came out. Yeah, okay.
I thought there was some crazy direct.
I didn't see the last one because I hated the second one. All gone a bit wrong for me.
I won't spoil it.
Fair enough. I don't think I'll. Well, if you pick it, I'll watch it.
See,
I'm in your hands. So, another question: what this could have just been one film, and instead they made a series of. We now think 15 films out of this, and they're probably going to make more. What other film that was just one film should have had a series of 15 films made of it?
Any film.
Any film. Pick your one standalone film that should have been turned into a series of 15.
But I mean,
how many films can justify this?
That's an impossible question.
Yeah,
we can pick a great. Wasn't long enough.
They played a whole series.
12 hours.
Yeah, great big cricket series.
The Empire Strikes Back. Well, the Empire. I don't know any cricket terms, so it would be the Empire. Balls back.
The Empire gets knocked for 6. Yeah. And then the second trilogy where I think we said they're in Uganda and they're playing croquet. And then the third one where they're in, New Zealand and they're playing Skittles.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great franchise.
Yeah, this is why I think this is an impossible question, because you're asking me to pick a film I cherish and then say, which would you have be totally ruined by corporate capitalism? So the immediate film that sprang to mind was Jurassic Park, and then I was like, oh wait, they've done that with Jurassic Park, and it's fucking awful. Yeah, okay, if I can suspend that in our mind and say if it was going to be good, which deserved, or if we didn't know how it was going to turn out, which film?
Or I guess which one could be good.
Yeah.
I suppose it's got to be one with a big world to be developed.
Yeah. Oh God, The Lord of the Rings. And they've done it and it's terrible.
Oh no. Did anyone see that trailer? Oh, we can talk about this after. But
yeah. Yes, I did. And
it put me, I was like, I'm not watching this.
Yeah. No thanks. Yeah, you're right. Something with a big world that we only get the slightest hint into, right?
Yeah.
Peter Pan?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah, I don't know why that sprung to mind. Huh. I don't know what they would do with it, but they'd give Hook a backstory that totally justifies everything he did.
Pan's backstory.
Robin Hood.
Yeah.
There's loads of stories about Robin Hood, and they all go off in different directions and have subplots and stuff. You could make that into a decent director that had a good sense of fun and keeping it relatively light could do a great job with a Robin Hood series.
Yeah.
But that's not really picking a film. No, I guess the Errol Flynn one.
You love that film.
I love that film so much.
It's a great film. I love Errol Flynn.
Any candidates from Fernando or Claire?
I'm trying to think of one. It's very difficult.
It's quite difficult.
A Knight's Tale.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yep. What would you see happen in the sequel to A Knight's Tale?
More adventures.
Just and then more adventures.
The little
Chaucer's
boy
backstory.
Chaucer's backstory.
Yep.
Well, we could have either the
Princess
Prince of Egypt.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, shit. Prince of Egypt. Yeah, that's a great
Prince of
idea.
Egypt.
I love that.
And we've got a lot of We've got a lot of
so much source material.
The Bible on film.
The Old Testament cinematic universe.
From Fire and Brimstone Films.
The Moses verse. Okay, I think we've got some good...
Princess Mononoke, for sure.
Yeah, there'd be something to be said for that. I think you'd want to go different parts of the world, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You'd want different, quite separate stories with little crossovers and, I guess, like cameos like they do in these films. Where you're like, oh, I remember him from Princess Mononoke, and now that's what he's doing later, and see Ashitaka as an old man, and yeah.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Cool.
Good question.
Thanks. I think that... Oh, The Link. What was the last film?
Gosford Park?
Link between this and Gosford Park.
They're
not very similar, are they?
It's a tricky one. There's a big guy. He's up to no good.
Yep.
Bunch of other side characters.
Hierarchy?
Yeah.
Hierarchy, oh yeah, stratification.
Yeah, oppression.
People speaking with British accents.
Yep.
The Empire beginning to fail, but they don't recognise it yet.
Yeah, that's a good one. Oh, people who don't know who their parents are.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, brilliant. Done.
People who don't know who their parents are?
Yeah. Who's Luke's father? Dunno, I haven't seen any of the other films, so I haven't even had any hint that it's not just what his uncle told him, but still, also...
Every single time I forget that Darth Vader's Luke's father, so when his uncle's talking about his dad, I was like, oh, that's nice. I don't even register that he's talking about Darth Vader.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, every time I was like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's why you were making that noise.
And that's why it's really nice that Princess Leia just kisses him on the cheek.
Until the next film, when they full on snog.
Can't wait.
Yeah, he got over the death of his aunt and uncle pretty quick.
Oh,
no
was
judgment.
acting. That was his driving force, wasn't it?
Oh, he was like, well, there's nothing for me here now.
Yes.
Guess I'll come with you then.
Yeah, he could
to
have
do what I
phrased that
always
as,
wanted.
I am now determined to avenge my family's deaths. No, it was, guess I'll come along, whatever.
Well, that's the way of the Jedi, right? As in, you're not supposed to mourn them. You're supposed to rejoice that they turned into the Force.
Brilliant.
Oh, I can't believe we didn't talk about the samurai.
Who was the samurai?
The Jedi. That's another big thing people say, that the Order of Jedi Knights is directly lifted from Akira Kurosawa's something or other.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, they were going to... these spin-off films they were making, like Rogue One and the one about Han Solo, one of them was going to be Seven Samurai with Jedi on a planet, and it would have been so good. It's such a great idea, and for some reason the board decided not to approve that one, and were like, no, we'd like another one about space ships.
Let's do C-3PO's
Han Solo
villain origin story or something.
Yeah. Which is trash, and I hate them for it, and I really wish they'd made one good film that I wanted to watch, but whatever, who cares?
Also, Seven Samurai was crap, so...
I loved Seven Samurai so much. Can't believe we haven't picked that for the club yet.
I can, let's not.
And yet, the other Kurosawa films we've picked have gone down so well.
I know.
Throne of Blood, Rashomon...
Good film, everyone? Bad film? Where are we landing? I'm on good film, 100%. Loved it.
Good film, 3 stars, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, mediocre.
Fine.
Monday, yes.
So disappointed with something flops like that. I'm going to say that every time. To perfect my accent.
Was that your Michael accent?
That was my Maggie Smith from Gosford Park.
Yes, okay. Oh, I'm with you.
Yeah. We've already all forgotten Gosford Park because it was also a flop. Anyway.
I thought we all liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Sure. Any closing thoughts?
Cool film. Obi-Wan should have been Sean Connery.
Yeah.
And
He
yeah,
was
not
at
so
like
bad.
the height of Bond, was he not?
Oh yeah, no, probably wasn't old and crap enough for it to be worth it.
That did occur to me. I was like, oh, is this one of those films that Sean Connery nearly got cast? And I was like, wait, Sean Connery was young before, I forgot.
I guess this was like 13 years after, or 16 years after the first Bond film. So
was it?
dunno.
Well, maybe he could have done it then.
Yeah.
Well, that would have been quite a different film.
Well, he was old enough to play Harrison Ford's dad in the Indiana Jones films.
Oh,
so
yeah, true.
he could have made it work. And if he hadn't made it work, that would have been on brand for him.
Use the force. No, I can't.
Oh, yeah.
That was really bad.
If you strike me down, I will become more powerful than you can ever imagine.
Very nice. Oh, I thought Han Solo he was talking to Leia at one point in the ship where he was like, well, it's over for me, sister.
I only hope that when the data's analyzed, a weakness can be found. It's not over yet.
It is for me, sister.
Awful. I was like, God, why didn't they do another take with that hand? Loosen up a bit.
I think what's worrying is that that's the take they had
That
to
is the
pick.
take. It's like Tobias. Oh, you don't watch Arrested Development. It's like Tobias Funke. This. I don't know whether I should bother explaining this. Famously terrible actor in the show auditions to be like a prison inmate, and he does a famous interview. He's like, "I'm the last guy you want to mess with." That's what it reminded me of. It's like a joke acting bit. Anyway, stop going on about it because otherwise he was beautiful and flawless.
Apart from the acting.
From the acting, I thought he was perfectly cast. Wouldn't change it for the world. Anyway. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Oui.
Oui. Fernando? Oui.
I was born ready.
Excellent.
Oh no.
I love this music.
I thought maybe this time at least. Brilliant.
Okay.
Claire and I were watching a concert, or we happened to flick on like BBC Two, and it was the music of John Williams. And we've watched a few bits. We're like, God, John Williams was great, wasn't he? And he was like up at the front conducting. It was brilliant. And then they like acted like they were all done. They were like, well, I think we've got time for just one more. I was like, oh my God, what is it going to be? Jurassic Park? Is it going to be E.T.? And they played that fucking music from the bar on Tatooine, with like all of them bobbing their heads and stuff. And that was the end of the concert. It was completely terrible.
Oh, I'd have done the same thing. I'd have been one of the people like, yeah! Woo!